Flood, as we can see at my back, he is a flood. So what is flood? Flood are the most frequent type of disaster and occur when an overflow of water submerge land that is usually dry. Flood are often caused by heavy rainfall, rapid snow melt, or storm surge from a tropical cyclone or tsunami in coastal area. In Malaysia, is known as a country that receives among highest rainfall in the world. This regular rainfall season usually occur during the northeast monsoon from October from March. As we can see, here is the December, so heavy rain in some area may last for a few days, which causes flood to happen. So from this, when flood happen and affected students, some of their electronic goods such as laptop, tablet and phone drowned in flood, which eventually inhibited their learning season that semester. So this thing affected some students by making it hard to commit to their studies at their time. Therefore, students need to be aware for the flood importance of flood preparation. It is important to develop a plan well in advance. So the plan is before, during and after. Thank you.
Even if you feel like living in a community with a low risk of flooding, remember that anywhere it rains, it can flood. Just because we haven't experienced a flood in the past doesn't mean it won't in the future. Flood risk is not based on history. It is based on a number of factors including rainfall, topography, and flood control measures. Here are a few reminders for you to do before flood. Firstly, you should always avoid going to places with high flooding risk. Secondly, you can place your important documents at a higher place that water can reach and also store them in a waterproof bag. Besides that, you should assemble a first aid kit with all the basic first aid kits inside. Besides that, you should always be alert of the weather condition when it is monsoon season. So we can get ourselves prepared before the flash flood hits. As a student, you can consider purchasing flood insurance if you are living at a high risk area of flooding. That's all.
This is preparation during the flood. If a flood is likely in our area, we should first listen to radio or television for information. Be aware that the flash flood can occur. If there is any possibility of a flash flood, move immediately to a higher ground. And also be aware to take note the instruction for the concerned party. Third, be aware of streams, drainage and channels, canyons that are most likely to have a flash flood, such as without typical warning, such as clouds and heavy rains. Flash flood can be dangerous, so if we must prepare for evacuate, we should do the following. First, secure our home. If we have time, bring the furniture inside the house, move essentials item to the upper floor and keep safe with us. Second and lastly, turn off the utilities at the house at the main switch, and if instructed to do so. So document that importance we have to keep safely with us. And first and lastly, do not touch electrical appliances if we are getting a water or standing in the water. Thank you.
Today I would like to share a few information about after flood. Our home always has been flooded and at our place. Although flood water may be down in some areas, and many dangers still can exist in flood areas. So there is some things to remember, or people must take alert and take action from what they must do after flood. Okay, my first point is stay away from the damaged areas unless our assistance has been specifically requested by police. For example, follow the instruction by the authorities when they give the order. Second, play safe. People never know that have an additional flood or flash floods that can occur in some area, and so people must listen for local warnings and try to get other information from the authorities. Third, stay on the firm ground, okay, which is sometimes 6-inch deep water can sweep us off our feet, and people are trying to avoid from staying in the water. It because it maybe can cause electricity charge from underground that we never know the area have electricity. And the fourth point is stay out of the building if it's surrounded by floods. People must take alert and don't be panic. Find some area or some place that are safe, or the area is high than the flood water, so it can save yourself from to drown in water. Fifth point, use extreme caution when entering buildings, because there may be hidden damage that can cause particularly happen in foundation. Sometimes a structure or beam or electricity in our house can be short. Anything, you must be careful with yourself. And the last is avoid moving water. Okay, avoid moving water, which is when you see the flood, we must take an action to avoid to standing nearest to the flood, because we never know pressure of water that coming, and it can cause us to death, which is we drown in water, because pressure of water is really high when the flood is still in still occurrence in our place. So thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Today I will continue the impact of flood. So now I will talk about the impact of flood on mental health. Malaysia was flooding in years, which displaced thousands of people from their homes, and damaged properties can have deep impact on the victim mentally and emotionally. For example, on July 4, 2022, the 71 years old was out running the rain when a storm caused the Kupang River to overflow, triggering a flood that destroyed 8 homes in his village Kampong Iboy near Baling in the northern Malaysia. Abdul Rahman could only watch from atop a hill as his wife, adopted son and daughter-in-law, who was 4 months pregnant, were enveloped by the strong currents while stranded in their homes. He is among people in Malaysia who suffer post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) from flood event. There is concern among mental health experts in Malaysia that there will be more flood victims who will in turn show symptoms of post-traumatic stress. For example, among students, when their properties are being damaged by the flood that happened in their area, so it will affect their mental health as well. So this will make them stressed, because a lot of their assignments, their assessment will be gone and need to redo back. So moving on to the next point, which is impact on road damage. The onset of the winter monsoon at the start of 2021 has led to massive floods and in some cases collapsing structures, with the most seriously affected areas concentrate in several of Pahang district. A portion of the bridge was already partially broken and proceed to collapse and sink into the water. When they attempt to return to the Fraser Hill, they were also unable to do so as another landslide took place on KM4 of the same road. The Public Works Department (PWD) JKR has estimated that repairing flood damage and state roads under its administration will cost about 900 millions. So from this we can see that from the flood event, it may affected the transportation like roads, so it will affect some student to moving from one place to another. So that's all.
Now let's continue with the next point, which is impact of floods. I will explain the first one, the impact on economy. As we know, the flood that happened in Malaysia in late 2021 and early 2022 has caused severe damage to economy of Malaysia. It has damaging the vehicles, business premises, manufacturing, architectural sector, and also public assets that we have in Malaysia. Let's not be forgotten, it also affect educational purpose, as it flood also occur in school and university, which damage educational properties. Publication revealed that Malaysia insurer shouldered 1.5 billion to 2 billion or 20% to 30% economic losses due to high share manufacturing properties were hit during the floods. The second one is impact on education. As we know, the floods happened during education in Malaysia is from early of the year until the end of the year. So a total of 8,570 people from institution of higher learning became victims of floods. According to the High Education Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini Ahmad. So the initiative of the ministry is to help the B40 students who affected by the recent floods, as their educational properties such as laptop, tablets, and their studies work are affected during the flood. So their initiative in overcoming this problem is by giving them new laptops and new educational materials.
This area is always flooded. If it rains 2 days in a row, then flooding will occur. This area is a flood area, so based on what we have seen, this area has only been flooded for a week, and it is highly likely that the water level will rise over time.
Alright, my name is Izzat Irfan bin Ismail. So first thing, this is for interview season. So I will ask our UTHM student about flood. Okay, here we have Akil. So Akil, introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Akil Hakim bin Ismail and I'm from Faculty FCAP.
Alright, okay Akil, for the first question, what is your preparation as student about avoid the flood?
Okay, first, as a student, I will put all my important belongings that I use for study, such as laptop, handphone, and other stationery at a high place to secure them from broken, so I can continue my study well after the flood is over.
That's all the question. So thank you, Akil.
Recent incident of heavy downpour in Malaysia have wreaked a massive havoc, destroying properties and leaving countless residents homeless. Apart from the personal losses, flood has left a significant financial impact. It was estimated that up to 20 billion ringgit Malaysia in losses were incurred by flooding that damaged household, private properties, shop and warehouse, and also factories. Here is a rundown of the state in Malaysia that suffers the most flood damage last year, utilizing data released by the Department of Statistics Malaysia in January. The first state that commonly affected is Selangor, with the highest population of Malaysia, up to 6.6 million people. Selangor suffered 30.1 billion ringgit Malaysia in losses due to flood last year, making it the most vulnerable state. The district Klang, Petaling and Hulu Langat were the most heavily affected, comprising 2.7 billion ringgit Malaysia in total losses. The second one is Pahang. Pahang is the second most vulnerable Malaysia state, knowing a loss of 563 million ringgit Malaysia in 2021. Housing loses up to 426 million ringgit Malaysia, while damage to business premises, vehicle and manufacturing amount to 167 million ringgit for Malaysia. That's all.
So, state that always flood in Malaysia. So, first we have Selangor. So, in 2021, Selangor suffered a total of 3.1 billion in losses, making it the one most virulent state of flooding damage in 2021. One of the source of the flood was the issue of clogging as the result of the rubbish thrown into drain and sewer. The agency say in the post, the flood that took December 18, 2021 saw help of trust enter government control access under the purview of the JPS KL. So next, another state of the place always flood is, as we can see here at the Johor Bahru, Johor. Rainfall is mainly than normal. So as we can see, it's not a major flood, but the flood is already area of the lake and the strong of the current.
Hi, my name is Rabiata Adawiyah, and today I will conclude the video presentation for our group. So for conclusion, we already know what is flood based on my team member presented. So there are a lot of precaution that we must know and do before, during and after flood in our area to make sure our family and property are safe. There are also a lot of bad impact happen to our environment and our neighborhood after flood. Nowadays, there are a lot of places has been flooded, especially Kelantan and Terengganu, and I hope we pray for them to make sure this flood will be end at their area. So, my advice is stay alert about the surrounding and take care of your family, your pet and your neighborhood, and don't be panicked during the flood. So that's all for our group. Bye.